Thanks for joining us.
Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.
Welcome to the podcast.
You are now tuned in to this episode of our podcast. Today, we are going to interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in our field. And now, please welcome your host.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And we're back. We're very pleased that Governor Andrew Cuomo joined us again, the final push for Jewish voters before Election Day. Welcome back to the program, Mr. Governor.
Thank you, Zev. Good to be with you.
Thank you. How's it going?
It's going very well. It's going very well. The turnout is extraordinarily high. Literally, it could hit an historic high. And I think that says it all, Zev. I think people are frightened. People are frightened. I was in Brooklyn today, Brighton Beach area, that area. They're not just interested in the race. They're not just animated by the race. They are frightened. This, Zohran Mamdani scares the Jewish community in particular, I think. His statements, globalized intifada, not denouncing that, won't recognize the right of Israel to exist as a Jewish state, which is basically from the river to the sea, won't denounce a fellow named Hassan Paika who said America deserved 9/11. I mean, this is really outrageous statements, especially in New York City.
Absolutely. In Israel, they're frightened. My wife's in Israel. The Jerusalem Post just interviewed me, a couple-page story, focuses Mamdani. People are worried, they're scared, they're frightened. It's going to change New York, not just for the Jewish community if he wins. It's going to change it for the worse for everybody in New York.
Oh, it's not. New York will not be New York. You can't have a socialist New York City, right? It almost sounds like a joke. Socialist New York City, anti-corporate New York City, anti-business New York City, anti-wealth New York City, anti-law and order New York City, defund the police New York City. No, it's New York would not be New York.
Certainly the Jewish vote can determine the outcome of this race because a lot of Republican Jewish voters, Republican voters in general, Jewish in particular, have not voted yet. For some reason, I know in areas like Borough Park and Flatbush, no, the Jewish are, they're waiting to the last minute. So first of all, I see, were you surprised that former Assemblyman Dov Hikind switched from supporting Curtis Sliwa to supporting you?
No. Well, yes, because I know Dov Hikind, and he's not. He's a man of principle. I have a great deal of respect for him, but I didn't expect him to switch. If I had thought about it more, it actually makes more sense because he is principled. And look, I have Republican elected officials endorsing me, from Senator Alphonse D'Amato to Congress people, to council people, all across the board. Because this race is not about Democrat-Republican. It's about socialist or not socialist. Are we a socialist city or are we not a socialist city? It's about what is our response to this anti-Semitism that is going on. That's on the ballot, right? Are we going to have law and order, or are we going to cut the police force? That's on the ballot. It's not about Democrat or Republican, Zev. And look, I'm a moderate Democrat. I have the far left socialists running against me, but I'm a moderate Democrat. I was the governor for 11 years. When you're governor, it's of the state. The state is basically 50-50 Democrat, Republican, right? We've had Republican governors. So this hyper partisanship that you have in New York City you don't have when you're a governor on the state level. I had a Republican Senate. I dealt with the Republican Senate. We got 11 budgets done on time. That was all with a Republican Senate. So I am very accustomed to representing and working with Republicans. So it's not that far a reach, is what I'm saying.
But I'm curious. So have you spoken to Dove? You're coordinating activity with Dove Hyken, I'm referring to?
Yes, I spoke to Dove.
And so you're working together, you're campaigning with him, and what are you doing as far as reaching out through Dove? I was just curious.
Well, my campaign's working with him. He's advising us on what to do. And whatever he does, he knows his community better than anyone.
Now, by the way, I wanted to commend you. Last time we had you on the show, I said to you, why are you calling Mamdani a Assemblyman, giving the respect? You said, you're right. And I noticed the last debate, you didn't call him a Assemblyman. You stuck to his name. Well,
the last debate was about what we would say in Italian is the emis. It was, I just called him out on everything and showed who he was. He is an actor. He's a performer. He has a 20-second script on everything and a smile, 20 seconds and a smile. Once you ask him any follow-up question on anything, then he collapses, right? Because there's no there. Freeze the rent. Except the mayor has no legal authority to freeze the rent. Free buses. Except the mayor doesn't control the buses. And the MTA said they're not doing it. Free government-run grocery store, one in each county. But there are already 16,000 grocery stores. And what makes you think New York City knows how to run a grocery store? They're going to tell you when the cantaloupe is ripe. So once you just get him off his 20-second script, there's nothing to say. He has nothing to say. And that's what he was shown on the debate.
Well, I like to joke when he says free food, free rent, free buses, free Palestine. And I say it means free unemployment as well. That's what it leads to, because you got to pay. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Somebody has to pay the bill. But that's unfortunately people are buying into that. Now, let me ask you this. Last time you were on the program, I asked you about the soccer community. At one point, they endorsed you. Didn't look like they were endorsing Mamdani. I understand from Abe Eisner that you had a meeting with them this week, both sides in the soccer community, and now they're no longer endorsing Mamdani. Am I correct?
We had a meeting with both sides of the Satmar community, which doesn't happen all that often. It was a very good meeting. Mayor Adams came with me. It was a good discussion. We took pictures. I don't know that I would say they have taken any official position yet.
Oh, but it seems like they're not endorsing Mamdani from what I'm led to understand. And I believe that I think it could be a good factor in your way, because you said last time they're waiting to see how the election was going to be going. And it looks like you seem like you have momentum. And I guess that's probably playing a role in this particular situation.
Yes. If they look at the early voting numbers, which not only are they very high, they're also very different. So Jewish community, very high. Older people, very high. Younger people, lower than usual. So this is a much different look than the primary, right? The primary was the exact opposite. The primary was an avalanche of 20 to 30-year-olds. So if you look at the numbers, we're looking very good.
Let me ask you this question, and then I want to get to some of the nitty-gritty as well. Is Curtis Sliwa on my program just the other day said that he seems like he hates you. Tell what's between you and Curtis. It'll be nice if you both can have a unity situation, but it looks like it's not going to happen. He's going to be in the race to the very end. So is there any outreach between you and him, or what's the story between your relationship?
Zev, I've never spoken to the man except on the debate stage. I've never spoken to the man. Everyone has talked to him. and said, what are you doing? You cannot win. You're electing Mamdani. President Trump said, Curtis is not ready for prime time, quote, and basically said a vote for Sliwa is a vote for Mamdani. And everybody has gone to him and said, you're just electing a socialist, which is the exact opposite of what the Republican Party is all about. But it's all about him. But I'll tell you the truth. I only know him from the newspapers. It's always been all about him, Zev. Remember, people want to forget now. And I just did a talk show, a conservative talk show host. Curtis has been a great patriot to New York. Yeah, great patriot to New York. He defrauded New Yorkers. Let's remember what happened here. Guardian Angels, they made up a whole series of stories of what they did. All fake rescues. Curtis said he was kidnapped by the New York Transit Police and threatened. And then it came out that it was all lies. So, Curtis has always been a character. Let me be kind. He's always been a character. And it's always been about Curtis, right? He's always the center of his own show. And that's what this is all about. He doesn't care about New York. This is about him.
So no chance of rapprochement between you and him before Election Day. Seems out of the picture, correct?
Zev, I never talked to him. I wouldn't have a problem talking to him. I never said a bad word about him. I don't think it's not that he doesn't like me, doesn't know me. It's about him. He likes the fanfare. Also, by the way, he made like $4 million from public financing. So who knows where that went? So who knows?
Serious charges. So interesting how this all plays out. As they say in Italian, Mr. Governor, I want to talk tachlis. I want to talk real issues. Voters are looking for more than statements. They want to know what you'll actually do. How would you handle real-world situations such as protesters boycotting and throwing bricks at Israeli restaurants, encampments blocking public spaces, rising hate crimes in visibly Jewish neighborhoods? As you said earlier, Jews are frightened. They want to hear more than just they want to hear exactly what can and will you do in these kinds of situations.
I passed the strongest hate crimes law in the United States of America. I would arrest them and I would have them prosecuted, and I would make sure they're prosecuted. What has happened, Zev, is politically, everybody's afraid of the left. Everybody, politically, they all wanted to be pro-Gaza, right? Even the Democrats. So they were very lenient with all the protesters. I actually sent an op-ed piece. I did an op-ed piece when the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, did not charge the students in the first Columbia College uprising. And I did an op-ed piece that said, if you don't enforce the law, you wind up sending the opposite signal. And yes, you have a right to demonstrate. You have no right to impede another person, harass another person, discriminate against another person, destroy public property, destroy private property. Enforce the law. Enforce the law. Otherwise, by your own action or inaction, what you're doing is creating mayhem. And you're saying it's okay. We have to send the exact opposite message. Any discrimination, any hate speech against a Jewish person, anybody else, no, you prosecute it.
That's the key, prosecution. But I think there's been a survey done even with these Jewish hate crimes against Jews. Very few of them have gone to jail. That's the justice system, unfortunately, in New York.
Yes, because they don't want to. There's politics there. They don't want to do it. They're all lefties. They don't want to do it.
So how are you going to work with the lefties, which they have a different agenda, and the DSA certainly has a different agenda, and there seem to be a growing segment of the Democratic Party here in New York and around the country, I should say.
That's what this election is all about. Is the Democratic Party going to elect a socialist or now I'm a moderate Democrat? And if I'm elected, it means the city voted for me, not the socialist. And that's going to be a tremendous power of public statement. That'll be a tremendous mandate to enter office. If they vote Mamdani, they pick the socialists, and then they're going to get a socialist government. And then you're going to be Venezuela, you're going to be Cuba, you're going to be Chicago, and half the city is going to be in Florida.
Or more.
Yeah.
Now, one of the areas that mayor has oversight is, of course, the Department of Education. And we've seen concerning data about how Israel and Jews are taught in the public school systems right here in New York City, including how Israel is being erased from world maps, paper trails showing foreign countries donating to NYC DOE. We've seen educators had to hide in libraries because they were being attacked by students allowed to leave class to participate in pro-Hamas demonstrations. So what can be done? I know Mamdani is talking about Jamal Bowman, who's a vicious anti-Semite. He would be the Chancellor of Education. What would you do to enforce and make sure that this is changed immediately in the Department of Education?
Well, first, you raised an interesting point. Jamal Bowman, Chancellor of Education. What the heck does Jamal Bowman know about education?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But it says something, Zev. Zohran doesn't know anything about government. He was an assemblyman for 20 minutes. He voted for 3 bills, passed 3 bills, was absent more than anybody else. This is not about government for them. It's all politics. It's all symbolism. Jamal Bowman, head of education, doesn't know a damn thing, has no credential whatsoever, got kicked out of Congress, was a joke. But it's a frightening point. They have no respect for government. You know, it's a little bit of a tangent, but when you are a legislator, he's a legislator. AOC is a legislator. You vote for a bill, you don't vote for a bill. The job is basically articulation and advocacy. And you're an assemblyman, you're a senator, you're a council person. Advocate, talk, God bless you. When you're an executive, you're responsible for management. That's what they don't understand. And he has no interest in management, no expertise in management. And that's how you could say Bowman for education, because you don't know what the education department does and you don't care. I'll tell you what they will do. Yeshivas are going to be in real trouble. Yeshivas are going to be in real trouble because they've been coming for the yeshivas for a long time. It's been a constant battle in Albany. I always defended the yeshivas. We then have the substantial equivalency law. They're now trying to roll that back. They're going to come after yeshivas. They don't want to fund the yeshivas. They want public schools with public school teachers, union members, and it's going to be a major battle.
Certainly will. But what will you do? Because this is terrifying for Jewish students in public school, and Jewish educators are having a tough time. They're seeing the hatred from the students and being encouraged, at least it was for part of the time, in the last couple of years, where they said teachers had to hide in classrooms. They're teaching an anti-Jewish, anti-Israel agenda in some of the schools. What would you do as mayor to change all this situation?
Well, as mayor, you control the curriculum.
Who would be your chancellor of education?
I don't know, but I'm in charge. Whoever it is, I'm in charge. I'll get the best, most talented person on the merits. But on this issue, on yeshivas and substantial equivalency and the Jewish community and what we're teaching our young people, Look, I would start by having every class visit the Holocaust Museum in Battery Park City that my father built, God rest his soul, with Robert Morgenthau, God rest his soul, former Manhattan District Attorney. Let them go see the Holocaust Museum. That should be a class trip.
So basically, also, what concrete actions or policies would you implement, not just in the public schools, but in New York, to protect Jewish New Yorkers who feel very vulnerable right now?
Zev, we have the laws. I passed the laws. We have the most aggressive hate crimes law in the country. I even made it stronger after there was an attack on a rabbi in Rockland County with a machete. The person happened to be mentally ill. But we have the laws. We're just not enforcing them because we don't have the political will, because this far left dominates the city. And it dominates, district attorneys. They get elected. They run in the primary process. They're afraid of the far left. Many judges run in the primaries. They're afraid of the far left. And you listen to the far left, nobody goes to jail. They don't enforce anything. That's the problem.
So how would you deal like DAs in Manhattan, like Alvin Bragg, who's part of the problem as far as non-prosecuting some of these crimes? How would you as mayor deal with situations like that, deal with Alvin Bragg in particular?
Or the way I got things done as governor of New York is people power. People power. I would organize the people, and I would organize campaigns against these officials.
So against Alvin Bragg, you would run a campaign against them?
I don't want to pick a fight today, but if someone...
How about tomorrow?
Maybe tomorrow. If someone is not fully prosecuting the law, and yes, I would oppose them.
So as we're getting down to the nitty gritty, are you going to any rabbis for blessings, by the way, between now and Election Day?
I'm going to every rabbi I can find. Because I'm going back to Ohel again.
You're going back to the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Yes.
Now, what is your strategy for the Jewish community between now and Election Day? You're going to be going to the Ohel. What else are you going to be doing to reach out?
I'm touching all of them, especially the Republican Jewish community. I have to communicate with them. You're a Republican, you tend to vote Republican. I get it. This is not about Republican, Democrat. Forget that. It's not a normal election. There's only one point. Stop the socialist and listen to Trump, because even he says it's more important to stop the communist. But that's the last phase for me, the Jewish Republicans.
Final message to the Jewish community between now and Election Day. What would you like to leave our audience with?
I know how to do the job of mayor. I did the job of governor. State, the budget is twice the size. I passed more laws. I built LaGuardia, Kennedy, Moynihan. I built more things than any governor in modern history. I know how to make government work. I know how to lead. There's been no one who's been closer to Israel and the Jewish community than me. Maybe my father, but let's call it a tie. I will be there to protect the Jewish community in a way no one else can or will. And this is a pivotal moment. This is a pivotal moment. All eyes are on this race. It's a statement for the Jewish community to say, we're not going to allow this kind of anti-Semitism to go unanswered. You answer the anti-Semitism on Election Day at the voting booth. That's where you make your statement.
Mr. Governor, thank you for joining with us. Look forward to having you back again.
Thank you, Zev. My pleasure.
Thank you. That's Governor Andrew Cuomo here on the Talkline Network.
Thank you for tuning in to
Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast, the pulse beat of the Jewish community.
For continuous Jewish programs, TalklineNetwork.com, or our 24-hour-a-day listen line at 641-741-0389. For past shows, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms, or jewishpodcast.org. Thanks for listening to the TalklineNetwork.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.